Hi, Belinda. I'm Eve. I want to know, why'd you grow your hair and dye it brown?
Eve, my hair's not brown, it's red.
Why the Go-Gos broke up, first of all, even though it's an old question, so these people are telling me. And why, how she got interested in singing and when she started.
Carmelin, the Go-Gos broke up because we didn't get along, okay? And why didn't I start singing when I started the Go-Gos? Okay? Go back to class!
Born in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, Belinda Jo Carlisle is a 1980s pop icon. As a solo artist and lead singer of the legendary group The Go-Gos, Belinda's career has spanned out for over 3 decades, from her drumming as Dottie Danger with the Germs to touring again with The Go-Gos up to 2022. Not many artists have had such success as a solo artist after being in a group, and Belinda falls into that category, along with such artists like Michael Jackson, Phil Collins, Paul McCartney, George Michael, and Sting. But like all artists, Belinda had to start young, grow up, and also had her down moments. Growing up in Thousand Oaks, California, Belinda was raised as a church girl and forced to go on Sundays, which she didn't care for much. What she wanted to do was travel the world, and as a teenager, she thought being a rock star would be a good way to do it. But she admits that she was a nightmare teenager who was running away from home, hitchhiking, dropping acid, and smoking, trying anything. While at the same time being a cheerleader in high school, so she managed to be both people. Being a rebel made punk music an appealing genre to Belinda. Belinda's first venture into music was in 1977, as the drummer for the legendary band The Germs. While a cheerleader at Newbury Park High School, she was discovered in art class by Lorna Doom. Her band name would be Dottie Danger. Yet she would never perform with them after contracting mononucleosis. So she referred her friend Donna Rhea as her replacement. Pat Smear from The Germs and Belinda talked on the phone the day they both entered the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, together, however, as the Go-Gos and Pat with the Foo Fighters. At the age of 18, Belinda moved to L.A., attracted to the new punk scene of the city. A small community at that point, like grunge was in Seattle in the early 90s. Belinda lived in a punk commune and partied with the same group for a couple of years, including Jane Wielden, the co-founder and guitarist of the Go-Gos. All bands, music, drugs, and partying. In the early 80s, the Go-Gos had no idea what they were doing in terms of instruments or writing, until their guitarist, Charlotte Caffey, was asked to join because she knew how to plug a guitar into an amp. That was what was great about the scene. You got a lot of support and even got guitar lessons from other bands. So the members had a ton of fun, and it was basically a girls' club. No guys allowed, no boyfriends. The Go-Gos had girl roadies, female management. To go, as she puts it, from 0 to 103 years felt like an explosion. The other members of the Go-Gos were, at this point, Kathy Valentine, bass guitarist, and Gina Schock on drums. Their debut album, Beauty and the Beat, gave them 2 of their greatest hits, We Got the Beat and Our Lips Are Sealed. People have such a connection with the Go-Gos because people see them as normal girls. Beauty and the Beat went 2 times platinum in the US and 1 time platinum in Canada. Vacation album went gold in the US. First all-ladies rock band, who wrote their own songs and played their own instruments, and have a #1 album. Beauty and the Beat was #1 for 6 weeks. However, drugs had been a problem for the band virtually from the start. In a sense, that's how they met. In her 2010 memoir, Carlisle wrote that she was always scared shitless, scared that I wasn't any good and the audience would see me as the fake. Moving from acid while younger to coke when she had more money, questioning herself on what she was doing. Even after their album went #1, she was spending the majority of money on drugs, clothes, and a racehorse. Over time, however, two things became a problem for the Go-Gos. Drugs was one. They had a blast, partying with the likes of Rod Stewart and Charlotte, getting kicked out of Ozzy Osbourne's dressing room. Jane hanging out with Paul Stanley of Kiss, but eventually it stopped being fun and turned into a nightmare. Then secondly, money became a problem, as some band members earned more than others. Songwriters Charlotte, Jane, and Kathy earned more than lead singer and drummer Belinda and Gina. This caused problems, as there is the songwriting, but they felt like they all busted their asses as well, so they ended up splitting the band up.
Hi, I'm Belinda Carlisle, and when MTV said I could throw a beach party and invite anybody I wanted, I couldn't think of anybody better than my bandmate, Charlotte Caffey. Not only because we've been a team since the Go-Gos, but also because she owns her own sunglasses, and this place has a really cheap prop department. So Charlotte, while I'm getting my feet wet, why don't you go ahead and introduce the next video?
Okay, here it is, Mad About You.
After splitting with the Go-Gos, she quickly released Belinda in 1986 and scored an out-of-the-box gold-certified smash via the romantic slice of classic pop that is Mad About You. The unforgettable tune rocketed to number 3 on the U.S. pop charts and had an energetic stage presence that MTV personified in the 80s. When her second album, Heaven on Earth, was released in 1987, with its hit single, Heaven is a Place on Earth, it made Carlisle a global superstar. She topped the charts in several countries, including the US, UK, and Ireland. It was Carlisle's only UK or US chart topper, with or without the Go-Gos. Written by Rick Knowles and Ellen Shipley, this song sent Belinda to the moon. This song is about finding heaven on earth in the form of true love. Rick Knowles wrote and produced I Can't Wait by Stevie Nicks. The initial idea came to Ellen Shipley when she was at a Brooklyn gas station and saw a greeting card that said, Heaven on Earth. When she and Rick started working on the song for Belinda, Ellen wrote that phrase on a blackboard as an idea, and Knowles added in, to complete the title. Heaven is a place on earth. The basis of the whole theme, according to Shipley, is that love should come first. Knowles and Shipley would also write several other songs for Belinda, including Circle in the Sand and Leave a Light On. Then the pressures and temptations of touring got to be too much. The next year, she upped the ante even further with the Runaway Horses album and world tour. 6 intercontinentally impactful singles. The legendary songwriter Diane Warren even worked with Belinda, writing I Get Weak, which went up to 2nd in the Hot 100. Warren ran into Belinda's son, and they hooked up for the song. Another helper in the early stage of Carlisle's solo career. A year before the Go-Gos split up, in 1984, is when Belinda met her husband-to-be, Morgan Mason. Rodney Bingenheimer, a club owner in Los Angeles, called her and said, this guy wants to meet you, and you're invited to a party at a Beverly Hills restaurant. He's gone out with Joan Collins. She didn't want to at first. He was rude at first. They ran into each other again a couple days later. Then she asked through her friend to go see a Hall & Oates show, and he accepted. Then they were together ever since. According to her, he was just nervous, but came across as rude. She asked for a cigarette, and he quickly gave her one. She thought it was rude, but her was just nervous. Carlisle managed to stop taking cocaine around the time she launched a solo career. It was a bit of a shock to be out on her own, as she did take somewhat of a backlash for leaving the Go-Gos. Being questioned about it, Belinda has stated that she doesn't think that she ever went on stage completely sober for years and years. Always drank before every show to build her confidence. The success to the band came so quick that she felt she didn't deserve it, and on top of that, the media, over the years, would constantly comment on her physical attributes, calling her pretty and plump, cute and chubby, saying that she's been hitting the dealy trays backstage. It's something she had to deal with for up to 2 decades.
I was looking at a picture of you when you were 20. Chubby.
Yeah, no.
Chubby girl.
I was a big girl.
I mean, you're beautiful now, chiseled.
This was damaging to a young lady in her early 20s, and it contributed as well to her drug use. Trying to live up to the media's expectations, under greater scrutiny than ever, being a pop star, she was told she would be more successful if she was a lot sexier and sang more seductive songs. She was horrified because that had never happened before. No man would ever have told the Go-Gos to sing songs like that, but being marketed as a pop star came with added pressure. In turn, she ended up developing an eating disorder. Belinda is quoted as saying, "It was horrible. I look back now, and I was normal. I would fluctuate in weight, and that was never an issue. I think one of the things that people loved about the Go-Gos was we were normal girls. But when you're that young and weight was always mentioned when I was in the paper, that really messes with your head. That was one of the reasons I got into drugs, because I could keep my weight down."
I'd like to know, how did you lose all that weight? You look so gorgeous now.
I went on a diet and stopped drinking and stopped taking drugs, and it was discipline. That's all you need, discipline.
This is an 80s nostalgia channel, so we don't need to discuss her 90s albums, but they were not as successful, and they did lead to more drug use. She intermittently battled the use of cocaine throughout her life and stopped in 2005 for good. She was simply tired of the falsehoods and the show and despised herself. It reached a crucial stage in London in 2005, when she was recording a collection of French songs. She didn't appear for recording sessions, rather going on a cocaine binge in her room. She had the abrupt acknowledgement that she could die there, alone, and realized that it was only time before she passed, so she chose to quit everything. Then she went out, got a big bottle of wine to praise her sobriety, and after the following morning, she awakened, and that was all there was to it. She was over cigarettes, over pills, over everything. Carlisle and her husband, the filmmaker Morgan Mason, lived in southern France with their child,
James Mason.
Carlisle joined Alcoholics Anonymous and figured out how to complete her record. Carlisle had the option to be creative, and she couldn't have cared less if anyone had heard it. Nowadays, Carlisle appears to be really sound. She is up at 4 a.m. to do yoga or Pilates. Been married to Morgan Mason for 37 years. He's always seen the person underneath the struggle. Her French album is probably the dearest to her because it kept her sober and possibly saved her marriage. Carlisle feels that if she didn't move to France, her marriage wouldn't have lasted. In France, attitudes towards woman, foods, everything are different. They lived there over 24 years. France celebrates life well and in moderation, much different than all the distractions that Los Angeles had. Now, she is an advocate of animal care in India, a co-founder of the APA, Animal People Alliance in India. She has worked with PETA as well, but co-founded this APA to teach that animals have feelings too, and how to recognize how a street animal in India is in distress. There isn't proper vet care since a middle class is highly developing, so Carlisle is active in wanting to educate and promote adoption. She also teamed up with an organization named Made by Survivors. This is a non-profit organization based in Calcutta that enables women in impoverished countries to achieve skills that help them avoid becoming victims of human rights abuses, including human trafficking, poverty, and abuse. Belinda Carlisle will always be lead singer of the Go-Gos and a great solo pop star, a fashion icon as well as a musical icon, an activist for women, an activist for animals. The Go-Gos are a one-of-a-kind band who have done what no other female band has ever done to this day, and still shined well into the 2020s with the Go-Gos. Belinda Carlisle is always a delight for the ears to hear no matter what song is on. For Belinda Carlisle, love comes first.
No, but it was funny. A couple years ago, we were offered a reality show about, it's in session with the Go-Gos. Like, I guess in the sort of vein as that Metallica documentary.
Right.
And I just said, no way. That would be frightening. Absolutely frightening.
And did some of the girls want to do it?
Yes, and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
No way.
And you would have been the key.
Oh, I'm sure I would have been made to look like the big bad lead singer.
Or the big, you could also be
Or the queen from France.
yes, the queen.
She's coming. She's coming from France.
Or you could be the benevolent one. Hello, girls. Oh, you all look so old.
As I drop my Dior bag in the corner.
I only speak French to them.
I know. Bonjour. Ça va?
We hope you enjoyed the memorable moments. And thank you for your time. 80s forever.